Hey you guys, it's Britt. Tonight we're here with a little Q&A. I gathered some questions on my community page about a week ago, and I am a couple days late filming this, but I wanted to get it done for you guys. I am going to try to focus on questions that I really haven't answered before. Some of them I've answered in other videos and so on and so forth. So I'm going to try to make it a little more interesting by not answering stuff that I've talked about before. And I'm sure, as you guys can also understand, there are also just certain things that I don't talk about on my YouTube channel. I did a Doherty Dozen video earlier today, and I talked about how, the people in my life that are really close to me and are sacred, I protect from the internet. And that's why I just don't talk a lot about my personal life. That's just a choice that I made before even creating my YouTube channel and deciding to post content on it. I knew I didn't want to overshare with certain things just because I decided to do YouTube. People in my life didn't decide to do YouTube. So I hope that y'all understand, but let's get started. So the first question is, tell us more about you. Like, where did you grow up? What was your childhood like? Do you have siblings? I love your videos because you're very fair and always truthful. Happy Thanksgiving. And obviously this was posted either right before or right after Thanksgiving. But yeah, so my childhood was very normal. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows and all of the positive things. There were definitely some things in my childhood that I wish that I could go back and kind of remove from experiencing, but that's just part of life. I'm really grateful to have had some really strong people around me who raised me, and my grandmother had a really big role that she played in raising me. I was very close with her, and I lost her many years ago, but it feels like it was yesterday. It was very difficult. I was heavily involved in her caretaking and her end of life care, as well as her end of life celebration. It was a lot to go through, but I wouldn't have it any other way because she was such a huge role in my life. I think about her every day. I have two tattoos that are dedicated to her, and I hope to add a third very soon. I would not be the person that I am today without her in my life. I have a sibling that is younger than me, and we are pretty close. Like, I don't see her every day or anything like that, but we do have a pretty good relationship. And yeah, I'm very grateful for my childhood because it could have been a lot worse. I know that some kids really experience a lot of really dark, dark, dark things in their childhood. Mine was, in the middle of the road. I definitely wasn't born with like a silver spoon in my mouth or anything like that, but I got what I needed, and more importantly, I got the lessons that I needed. And I had really amazing people to set an example for me, and I followed their example and their lead. And some of those lessons I've carried through all the way through today. So yeah. Next question. What does your weekly grocery shopping list look like? P.S. Love your videos so much. I've never really talked about my grocery shopping habits here. I do think that I've talked in a couple of videos how I kind of hate grocery shopping. I don't mind cooking. I just don't like grocery shopping. It's not something that I've ever liked. I don't like the process of putting the stuff in the car, checking out, loading up the car, unloading the car, organizing it in the fridge. It's just not one of the adult things that I like to do. Judge me all you want. I don't care. As far as cooking, though, I do like cooking. I do my best to go to the grocery store only once a week. If I can stretch it to like once every 10 days, that's even better, but no more than once a week. I don't like doing it, so I limit it. But I do a lot of really normal stuff. Pasta, steak with, potatoes, or, I don't do anything that takes a lot of time, because by the time I get home, it's 6 o'clock and I don't want to dedicate 2.5 hours to making a meal. So I try to stick to stuff that's really good, and plus stuff that is good left over. We are a leftover house. I enjoy to have leftovers depending on what it is. And so a lot of pasta, a lot of just stuff that I've been making for years that I'm really comfortable with, especially during the week. Now on the weekends, I might branch out and find a new recipe and try to make it. But I also have a lot more time on the weekend. So, yeah. As far as like my grocery budget, I really try to buy things that can be used in like more than one recipe. So if I'm getting ingredients to like make a pasta, I would also want to be able to use those like veggies in a different dish so that they're divided up and it's not just everything's going into one recipe and then we have to make sure that we eat the leftovers, if that makes sense. Next question. I really appreciate the way you speak and how you slowly, clearly, and concisely you talk in all of your videos. Have you had to work on yourself to speak so well, or does it come naturally to you? Where do you find it in you to give yourself as much time as you needed to speak your thoughts? I speed talk and have social anxiety, so I wonder if you have any advice. It's really funny because so many people complain that my speaking is too slow and I draw things out and I'm monotone and I'm boring. So to hear a compliment is it means more than you might know. I've received a lot of just bullshit criticism. I'm just going to come out and say it. Some of the things that people pick apart online is so insane, and then you see them like applauding other things that are just tragic and gross. But as far as me speaking, early on YouTube, I used to do outlines for my videos to keep myself on track, but I kind of stopped doing that because it was slowing down how often I could get videos out. So I just became more comfortable with talking to a camera. I've said this before. Talking to a camera lens is not something that most people can just pick up and be really good at it. So unless you've had practice with speaking to crowds or presenting meetings, at a company or something, it's not something that most people can just be really good at. It definitely comes with time. For some people, it might be a couple of months. Some people, it might take a couple of years. But for me, I've also reminded myself all of the time that my community will find me. And I'm not here to race. I'm not here to compete with anyone. I'm not here to look at someone else's channel and say, oh, well, I should have that too. Like, I'm in my own lane. I'm doing my own thing. If people think that I'm too drawn out, they can find something else. If topics aren't interesting, people are more than welcome to not watch the video. I think that also makes me more comfortable because I'm not here to chase a certain profit. I have a day job. YouTube is my hobby, and I'm very grateful that I get paid for it. But I kind of do what I want, and I kind of move at my own pace because YouTube is not paying my bills. If I shut down my channel today, I would still be able to pay bills on time, and it wouldn't interfere with that. I don't want to ignore the fact I am very grateful for the extra money that YouTube gives me. But I think that once people start relying heavily on the YouTube money that they're getting, you can see it a lot because they'll have 1 or 2 good months and they'll want to continue to chase that viral success that they had all the way, for the rest of their time on YouTube. And YouTube really comes in ebbs and flows. There are some months where you might have a good month, and then there might be 2 or 3 where they're half the amount of income that you got on that one really good month. So relying on YouTube full time is something very scary. It actually gives me a very anxious feeling to think of this being my full-time income. And that's why I also made the decision really early on that YouTube will never be my full-time income. I will always have at least a part-time job and rely on that for most of my income and, more importantly, my benefits, because let's be real, like having a job and having your health insurance taken care of and 401k is a great peace of mind to have. Okay, I got a couple questions about if we were ever planning on getting Axel a younger sibling, and the answer is yes, but I don't know when. Right now is not the time to do that. I want to be in more of a permanent place. Like, this is kind of a transition place for us, and I would like to do that like once I know, okay, this is kind of like our forever home. Like, this is going to be 5, 10, 15-year place where we're going to stay, and that's when I would like to introduce a second dog. I don't right now is just not a good time for that. I'm hoping that this is going to be really short term and then we're in our quote forever home maybe sometime next year, but time will tell. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but yes, eventually I would love to have a second dog for him to play with, and have a little mini Axel running around is definitely goals, but just not at this exact moment. All right, next one says, can you please tell us how and when you started your channel? Also, what are your goals and dreams for the future of your channel? Love your coverage and the level-headed presentation of topics. So I started my channel, I think it was in 2019, like fall time, if I'm not mistaken. And I started out doing beauty content, and obviously as things grow and things change, I started to be interested in the drama commentary space, because I would take in so much of commentary stuff and I'd be like, oh yeah, and this is how I feel, and I'm going through to my head and I'm like, why don't you just make a video like sharing how you feel and see how people react to it? People reacted really well to my commentary, and I did some influencer commentary, and then I kind of moved into the mommy vlogger commentary space after the Micah Stauffer stuff kind of all imploded. And that's kind of what I've been focusing on now. It's not to say that I will always do commentary, because who knows, 2 years from now I could be doing something completely different. But commentary is really interesting to me. Internet culture is really interesting to me. And I like to talk about these topics with people. And I feel like I've grown a little community here who likes to share their opinions, and we can do so without being jerks about it. And that's always been one of my goals. Talk to people without being a jerk. Talk about things without being a menace. And I think that that's one of my goals, and it's definitely been achieved. As far as down the road, I don't know. Like I said, YouTube is always going to be a hobby for me. I want to continue to grow my channel, but I want it to be slow and organic as it has been. And I'm excited to just see where things go. I'm always going to talk about stuff that is interesting to me, whether it's something with family vloggers or something that I come across on the news or something in my own life that I want to decide to share with you guys. I'm just here to talk, and if y'all are here to listen or talk back or a little bit of both, I'm good with it all. But I feel very grateful that my channel has come to the point where it is right now. I've said in other videos, this time little over 2 years ago, if I put up a video and it got 100 views, that was a huge day for me, because my audience was really small. So I look at the trajectory and the changes that have been, playing out on my channel, and even though I'm not chasing the numbers, it's still nice to see growth. It's rewarding. When you put work into something and you see it grow, that feels good. It doesn't matter who you are. You don't have to be an egomaniac or anything to feel good about growth. And I'm just so grateful where I am right now. And, if I kind of stay the same for the next 6 months, that's okay. If it grows a little more, that would be okay. I just feel very balanced in where I am right now. Ooh, this is a good one. She gave 2 questions, but I'm going to answer the one that I think y'all are going to want to know more about. The top 3 can't live without makeup items. So number 1 would be my MAC Face and Body Foundation. Number 2 would be the L'Oreal Lash Paradise Mascara. And number 3 is the Laura Mercier Matte Radiance Baked Powder in Bronze 04. I absolutely love these 3 products. I've used them for ages, and every single time I try a new foundation, I end up not liking it and going back to my MAC Face and Body. And same thing with mascara. And I love that the L'Oreal is so affordable. You can find it at any drugstore. It's a really good volumizing mascara. It doesn't flake. It doesn't smudge. It's not hard and crispy on the lashes. And as far as the Laura Mercier powder, it's a beautiful bronzer. It's a kind of a satin finish, not a lot of glitter or anything like that. And yeah, with those 3, I could literally put those on and feel very, very good about the day. So, a couple of people asked for a tattoo tour. I am planning on doing that, but I want to finish what I'm working on before I kind of give a rundown. So that will be coming, but just have a little patience with me because I want to finish what I'm working on, and then I can do a more in-depth video sharing with you guys what's been done. And, if they have a specific meaning, then I can share it all in one video. So that will be coming. I have been watching you for a long time now. And if seeing other, quote, commentary channels say horribly nasty or untrue things about you, is it considered parasocial if I want to stick up for you or correct their untrue statements? No, I don't think that that's parasocial. I think that that is human nature. When I think of parasocial relationships, I think of, instead of wanting to defend, it's like you want to attack on behalf of someone else. And I, of course, have said so many times, like, I never want y'all to attack anyone on my behalf or anyone else's behalf, because that's toxic and it adds mess to an already messy situation that is the internet. I know that there are other channels out there that have absolutely just said some really off-the-wall stuff. Unfortunately, it's part of being online, and this is also why I protect so much of my personal life from YouTube, because I see the toxicity. I see people that become they allow their hatred to bubble over, and they'll say things that are untrue and really nasty and cruel and vile and come from a place of just pure hate. I know that they're out there, and it's why I don't react. I have nothing to say to people that are so small-minded. If you don't like me, that's fine. But let's go over my content. Correct my content. Don't, come over here and be like, oh, you're annoying. Oh, you're ugly. Oh, your skin is oily. Oh, you're a bully. Oh, guys, like, can we at least stick to the facts? And most of them can't. So I ignore them, let them, fester with one another wherever they are in a small dark hole somewhere. I stay away from it. I did get a couple of questions about what happened with me and the Dad Challenge podcast. So essentially, for anyone that's new, I will give you guys kind of a really quick rundown. Essentially, what happened was I covered Micah Stauffer. He covered Micah Stauffer back when the H situation happened. And because we were 2 YouTubers covering the same thing, we came across each other's radar, and he ended up DMing me on Instagram and giving me some advice, unsolicited advice for some sound and lighting for my YouTube videos. And I said, thanks, whatever, maybe a little chit chat. I don't really remember. And then he asked me to be part of a multi-channel network. And that to me had scam written all over it. I wasn't interested and I just let it go. We ended up having some banter back and forth. There was one creator who really didn't like Dad Challenge podcast, and he really didn't like me either. And it was kind of funny. Like we would have this casual conversation back and forth, whatever. He never publicly said, oh, this is Radiant Brit and she's great, and let's collab and let's do all of these things and go subscribe. Like, he kind of puts on this persona that he was like publicly advertising for me and sending followers. If anything, I gave him free advertising by sticking up for him with the Shannon Rose situation. I would also mention his channel in passing, and a lot of my subs were going to check out his channel. But what ended up happening was I was working on my own content. He was working on his own content. And then as time went on, there were subscribers that were coming to me like, hey, did you see him say this? Did you see that he said Love Meg vagina, cleaner smells like vagina or whatever? Did you see he's like really being nasty to like some of these moms now, some of the stuff that he's saying? Then he softballed Jordan Cheyenne with that interview, and no, nobody asked him to bully her. But when you're given the opportunity to interview someone who was emotionally manipulating her child on camera, it would have been time to ask her the hard-hitting questions instead of, playing footsie with her. And that was my opinion. Then he started exploiting the Gabby Petito thing, and that was the end of the road for me. And I didn't care for it, so I shared my opinion. He came in my DMs. He wasn't happy that I shared my opinion, and things continued to fall apart from there. Then he Brianna K. Then he continued to just make these really derogatory comments towards women. And, I am here for women. I am not here for exploiting your kids, obviously. But some of the things that he was saying were just completely out of line and completely out of bounds. And I felt like it was the right thing to do to come to my channel and say, listen, I have advertised for this channel before. I no longer support what is going on here. Done. And he really lost it on me. And that's when I made a video sharing the DMs that he sent me, because it just all got really out of control, and it all fell apart simply because I no longer supported him. He doesn't like people that don't support him. He doesn't like people who have criticism. And he's continued to like kind of dig his hole and just make mess. And that's why I talk about him sporadically. I know that his fans don't like when I share my opinions about him, but he is a menace on YouTube. And there is no reason why he should be excused from commentary when he is a damn commentary channel himself. I'm being fair. I'm not being a jerk. And I think that he is a menace, and I think he's a misogynist bully. So either way, I don't want to focus too much on him, but that's a little bit of the backstory. And, up until me sharing my opinion about the Gabby Petito stuff, and the Jordan Cheyenne stuff I mentioned in a car chat, I don't remember which one, but it didn't really come out of left field. I definitely kind of made my stance known. Like, as I was collecting my thoughts, I was being transparent. And if you're not a supporter, then you're an enemy. And that's the way that he looks at me now. So, I also got a question about doing a day in the life video. So I do have that planned. I have it on my list. So that will be coming. Probably going to do it on a weekend, just because during the week, I've said before, I have a very boring life. I'm very content with my boring life, but there's just not a whole lot that goes on during the week. So I will plan that for a weekend, and can definitely do that for you guys. Okay, someone asked how we got Axel. So essentially, how we got Axel is, we went 6 long years without a dog, and we had decided we wanted to get a lab, and we agreed to get a chocolate lab because I grew up with a yellow lab, and he had a black lab. So I was like, perfect, let's get a chocolate lab. So we agreed. I ended up doing about 6 months of research on breeders and ended up finding our breeder, and the rest is kind of history. We ended up driving because I did not want a puppy to be shipped. I disagree with that. That's my personal opinion. And I found a breeder that not only would not ship puppies, but they were also just very accredited and really, really good people. Based on all of the research that I did and all of the phone calls that I had with them leading up to, agreeing to get a puppy from them. And yeah, we ended up going on a little road trip, picked him up, and it was the best day ever. Okay, and someone asked, how many hours a week do you spend on your YouTube channel watching videos of people you discuss, filming, reading Reddit, reading and interacting with comments, uploading setup? If I had to put a rough estimate on it, I probably spend about, I would say 2 hours a day, 7 days a week, because there's definitely days where even if I don't upload, I'm either interacting with comments or doing research for an upcoming video. I would say in between an hour and a half and 2 hours a day. And, that can really add up. 10 minutes here, 30 minutes there. Some days it might be more. I'm not sure. I don't really keep track. Maybe I should, but I enjoy doing YouTube. So I don't really pay close attention to all of the little minutes that add up during the day. But I also try to, make use of my time during the day, especially on my lunch break. And if I'm, early in the morning and I'm not doing a car chats, I'll try to use that time as well. Just so that I'm always working on something, which makes me feel good. A couple of people asked about music. I've talked about this before. I love 90s rap. I love it. It's classic. It's the one of the best eras for music, period. And more recently, I'm sure a lot of y'all know, I really love Mac Miller, and his passing really, really hit me hard. And I think that he was a gem. Mac Miller is someone who we will not see again in our lifetime. I don't think that we'll see someone to the caliber of talent that he had within himself. And I think the way that he passed is it's just the most devastating story. And it would have been devastating no matter who it was, but to know that he was just at the very top of his craft. He had so many people that loved and adored and respected him. And to go out the way that he did just really, really crushed my soul. I actually am planning on getting a Mac Miller tattoo, but obviously I will share that with you guys when I do my tattoo tour. Okay, someone asked what I do for full-time work. The most generic way that I can explain it is I am in an executive role. And yeah, I'd like to give you guys more, but I have to keep some things offline, but very happy in my role. I'm very grateful. I love the company I work for. I love the people I work with. I am very, very grateful to be where I am now. And I get to work Fridays at home, and remote work is definitely part of their one of their cornerstones. So I'm also happy to see kind of where that can go in the future. And I don't know, maybe get an extra day to work from home. I just feel very grateful. And the days that I am in the office, I don't feel stressed out. I don't feel annoyed. I don't feel like I'm under a microscope. There's a lot of trust there. I know what I'm doing. I'm really good at my job, and I don't feel like I'm being babysat, which is really, it's just a really good place to be in. Someone asked about my hair color, if it's natural or if I dye it. It is natural. Luckily, I haven't had to dye it yet, but eventually that might happen. Someone asked if I get paid from YouTube. Yes, I do get paid from YouTube. My channel was monetized in August or September of 2020. Fall of 2020 is when I got monetized, and like I said, it's a really like ebbs and flows kind of system. Like 1 month you might have a really good month, and then the next month is like half of what you made. So yeah, I mean, I get it. Like there are a lot of people that do YouTube full time, but for me, like the anxiety of just like not knowing is not how I can function, but that's just me. So someone asked about other YouTubers that I watch. I am going to make that its own video because I think that that would be a good one to make in this month of December. Predictions for 2023. I think it's going to be bad, guys. Like, I hate to be a negative Nancy, but y'all know that I always keep it real. I don't see the state of the world being a whole lot different than it is now. I think it's a really scary place. I think that there are people in need of mental health counseling and support, and they do not have it because they're either uninsured or it's just too expensive. And I think that people are dealing with a lot of different stressors. I think that people are just unable to cope with day-to-day things, and they're taking it out on other innocent civilians. And I think that it's bad. And I think that it's so sad to consider how literally going to the grocery store is no longer a safe errand to run. You can literally be in the middle of the grocery store buying freaking milk, and some guy come in and literally end your life for no reason at all. And it's scary, but it's very, very real. Top beauty items, I would refer back to the 3 that I mentioned earlier. Super simple staple items. And yeah, so let's see. Someone asked about traveling and kind of like what I do in my free time. So here's the thing, traveling with a dog is very hard, and we don't like to leave Axel at the kennel or being boarded. So, unless it's a situation where we can drive with him somewhere, it's really hard to travel, far places with a dog. But we do our best by being, including him and having him come when it's allowed. Like, luckily there are tons of hotels that will accommodate dogs, or friends and family that will obviously be fine with him coming. But I don't like kennels, and boarding, like trusting boarding places is very, very difficult. I think that I would just have like a full-on meltdown if I had to trust someone at a boarding place. And then if we got a phone call to say that something happened and we were like all the way across the country, that would just send me into a really bad place. So, we do our best with what we have without having to board him. I'd like to go on a trip again. Maybe next year. We'll see what happens. I've kind of been in this like transition period because of starting a new job like last year, and then this year I wanted to kind of like work through and not take a ton of time off. But yeah, we'll see what happens next year and just go from there. So anyway, those are the questions that I picked to answer. I pretty much hit on all of them, I think. I always feel weird when people ask me for advice because I don't know like the secrets, guys. Like, I don't know the secrets to success or the secrets to love or the secrets to financial freedom. I'm flattered that people ask me, but I don't have like the miracle answer. you know, life is just really crazy. And if you would have told me like 8 years ago that I would be sitting here making a video for YouTube, I would have probably called you half crazy. And that's just kind of the way that life goes. Life is really unpredictable. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful for you guys. We will do another one. And like I said, tattoo tour, day in the life, and a favorite YouTuber video will be coming in the near future. But for now, if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.